All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're going to see if for its local search is city search, see if it's got BSS. All right, so we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. And as always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that, pinned video up on the top, homepage, wherever. Now, this is because FSIC explains that all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got in white down there, our intent. Basically, our intent spectrum, highest intent on the left, lowest intent over on the right. And so if a boudoir photography business is rising, it's most likely bringing in peeps from the entire intent spectrum, the whole length. And if a boudoir photography business is falling, then most likely it's missing, not bringing in, some cohort of people. Now, the highest intent people over on the left are doing things like Google search, social media search, like a boudoir photo shoot in their city, like right now. And those people are fastest to money, highest to convert. We talk about that with BSS here in our videos. And then our sister brand, way at the end over there, name is Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. That's where we are talking about BLCS. But right now, we're only currently working with the boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So on to BSS. BSS is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google for the highest intent buyer keywords in their city. And so 0 slots is awful. I mean, we're basically dead at that point. That's because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. So 80% of Google searches literally, one and done Google searches, or page 1 and done Google searches. So if we're on page 2, only approximately 20% of searches of people searching will ever even find us. And page 1 slot, that's not good either. Or 1 slot on page 1. I mean, it's better, but we're still basically invisible because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1. If we go on one of them, then there's basically 9 other boudoir photographers with 1 slot. Best scenario. Worst scenario is if another boudoir photographer is like 2 or 3, and then we're going to really never getting looked at. So let's say everyone has 1. And guess what a buyer's doing? They're going down, clicking open everyone's link on page 1, because approximately 80% of buyers ain't even hitting page 2. And guess what? They're contacting everyone on page 1, getting a quote from everyone, comparing, price gets shoved down through the roof, or down through the floor, and kind of steals margin from everyone. So 0, 1 slots on page 1 on Google, no, that's BSS. We cannot deal with any of that. And that's because 0, 1 slots on page 1 on Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So it's super common, it's accepted, but symptom of 2 deeper root causes, and those are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, yeah, basically everyone knows this. It's like, seems like every week somebody gets a new iPhone, and then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile and their websites and the National Boudoir. That's kind of taking competition page 1 organic slots away from us. And or someone gets a camera, and they're posting to the mom groups in the National Boudoir. Also, big wave of this happened during COVID. People lost their jobs, they're still earning money. So as a result, everyone's got a smartphone and an awesome camera. So pretty easy people would say that they now for boudoir. But what that does increase the supply of boudoir photographers, but the number of buyers remains the same. So that makes it harder for every seller, every boudoir photographer to be getting those clients. All right, so everyone knows that. Basically, everyone knows that. Basically, nobody knows about this second thing, which is the false belief of page 1 equality. So that is kind of boudoir photographers kind of automatically assuming without even questioning that every boudoir photographer is entitled, to like either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe they had their slot 8 on page 1 of Google with their website. So new boudoir photographers came in, ranked higher, and got pushed out to page 2. And it's like, oh, well, every boudoir photographer gets 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. It is what it is. And basically, they're believing there's nothing that can be done about it. So this is 100% incorrect. And I know this for a fact because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google, on page 1 of Google, to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in only 10 days with this new strategy we're going to show you all today, or that I'll describe today. And it's kind of like we got to break through the mental barrier of accepting this as a false belief. And then once we do that, we can see, okay, there is a solution out there that we'll get to in like 2 pictures here. That, okay, we can use this to actually literally get as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort for. Next, a boudoir photographer BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So, disappearing boudoir photographer. Basically, if we got 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, we're disappearing because we're either on page 2 or deeper, and approximately 8% of searchers are never going to find us, and that's the bulk of the market that we care about. And if We got one slot on page one of Google. We're being price shopped against the other 9, destroying our margins. We're basically invisible anyways. And we care about this because a disappearing boudoir photographer is the warning light. It's kind of the the red flag going up, where a disappearing boudoir photographer precedes the boudoir photography business itself disappearing. So that's why we care about that. And we got our micro universe here. We got disappearing with boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one the false belief of page one equality, where we accept it's a false belief. So we're like, okay, now what's the solution? Boom, we finally got a solution. But through our testing, we've learned that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And we know this works because we invented it. It's what I use to go from 0 out of 10 slots, page one of Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page one of Google, in only 10 days. And I mean, it works exactly as it's described. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, pick up as many slots on social as possible on social search, and that kind of acts as like the the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America, where the streams, small streams, the small rivers from the backside of the Andes Mountains actually all flow together to the Amazon River, and into the big Amazon River. That big Amazon River is like page one of Google, and so, but it all starts with social search saturation. That's where it all stems from. And the cool thing about this is the only solution I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation, so maintain the business and not decline, but also still grow in the face of market saturation, and for it to happen relatively quickly. And those at least visible results of getting on page one of Google to happen relatively quickly. The only other solution that I have seen is having a strong brand, but that takes 5 to 10 years, which doesn't satisfy the relatively quickly criteria that we need. Because dude, we're in the AI. Dude, AI taking peep shops. We gotta get as much. We gotta get as much slots on page one as Google as possible before AI starts taking people's jobs. And I mean, it's pretty easy to see. SQ methodology can do this. So imagine we're in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got their websites saying they shoot boudoir. So page one competition is insanely crazy. And let's say we take, we see that and we say, okay, we got to take S-cubed methodology to the max. So what we actually do is we actually do S-cubed methodology so hard that we're like the first 300 slots on social search for the highest intent keywords, highest intent buyer keywords for boudoir in our city across all the social networks. And then let's say that flows onto Google, and we're taking like the first 300 slots on Google for the highest intent keywords for boudoir buyers in our city. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. So we're really taking out the first 30 pages on Google. So anytime any buyer looks up, types in a high intent buyer keyword into Google, or even any of the social networks, they're only seeing us. They basically got to go to like page 31 on Google to essentially find any of our competitors. And so once that happens, then basically once that happens, and buyers can essentially only find us. They only see us. Who are they going to go with? Obviously us, whose business will be growing, even though there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers. Obviously us. And whose business will be dying and disappearing because they essentially cannot be found at all for anyone searching. All our competitors. So again, this is why I said the SQ methodology is the only thing I've seen that helps boudoir photographers maintain and still grow their business in the face of market saturation. That happens, or I can get on page one of Google relatively quickly, way faster than brand. And in my estimation, I could probably build that brand about 8x faster normally, because we show up so much more on so many other surfaces. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we got multiple slots on page one of Google as an initial benefit. Second initial benefit is every new slot we get on page one of Google, we're actually kicking one of our competitors at that slot, push them off to page one or deeper, making so approximately 80% of Google searches can never find them. So we turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers, where if they stay there, they're eventually going to exit, be kicked out of the market. So this is an awesome, second initial benefit of using SQ's methodology. So we're making other peeps invisible. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So BSV, we actually, this is where our GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one of Google comes in. So GBC universe recommends 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google, because basically every other boudoir photographer page one on Google will have 1 out of 10 slots or 1 slot. So if we see 3, or if a buyer sees 3, they're kind of subconsciously going to think, man, why is Google recommending this person so much? I guess I'll click into them and may not even click on any of our competitors. And second reason GBC Universe recommends 3 out of 10 as the minimum, because there's a tiny, tiny, tiny chance another boudoir photographer can have 2, which means we also got to be able to dominate them in that case as well, with us having 3. So, and the recommendation of 3 is basically if we got 3 out of 10 page 1 on Google, we're basically guaranteeing we're not declining. So we're guaranteeing we're either, treading water, so maintaining the business, or growing the business. Most likely growing the business, but at least we're at least not declining. That's like the big goal here. And finally, a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got our full micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 in the false belief, page 1 equality. Now we have the solution S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results doing this. So I wanted to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So I know, okay, the exact thing I do for that is S-cubed methodology. I want to have as many slots page 1 Google as possible. Let's go down the organic slots. And we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 9, no, I'm not slot 9. Slot 10, me. So, dude, I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in only 10 days, purely using S-cubed methodology. So these are the results I've gotten for myself with it. Now onto the main event here, and check this boudoir photography business. I'm going to see, check its local search, check its city search, see if that BSS, yes or no. So let's see. Going to Williamstown and Defiance, Ohio. All right, Williamstown. Yeah, nice. All right, get rid of these. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, I'm not seeing us here yet. All right, it looks like we're at 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google for local search. All right, now we're gonna check city search. Let's see, go down to organic. All right, here we go. All right, so city search, we got 1. We got 2. We got 3. We got 4. We got 5. We got 6. All right, I wonder if I switch these searches up. I wonder if Defiance is the local and the other one's the city search. But all right, so we got 6 out of 10 for this one. So that's insanely good. So let's go. So local search, Williamstown, Ohio. That one must be the city search then. We do have BSS. We got 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. We're not hitting the GBC recommend minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. But for the local search, Defiance, Ohio, we are hitting. We do not have BSS. We got 6 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. We're definitely meeting the GBC universe recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. So insanely good. Now, if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, where you've done your own local search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords and your city search, and either you got BSS for one or both of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for one or both of those searches, and you're seeing that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. You've accepted that, and you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the only way forward, the only solution, and you've literally been waiting for something like this, and you're understanding the market saturation, people's getting new gear, and you're loving the initial benefits, more page 1 slots on Google, and even as a bonus, kicking out competitors in the same city from Google. And with the market saturation, you're seeing AI is going to be taking more people's jobs, so number of boudoir photographers in the market's only going to ever increase more and more into the future as AI takes more and more people's jobs. And so you're saying, okay, we got to fortify our search page one status on Google, and we actually need like backup links to our page one links that could still be ranking for page one because we got so much, we saturated the market so much, right? At least those specific high intent buyer keywords so much. Kind of like fortifying the levees in Nolens, Louisiana for the ocean. And you say, oh, SQ methodology is exactly perfect for that. So, hey, that's another kind of bonus to doing it. And you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer and achieve boudoir search visibility because you know you need these things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand the future benefits of successfully executing everything from SQ methodologies starting from today, which is, we're basically building up invisible thematic keyword columns plugged in or attached to our brand, our website, our business name, our brand name. That is what every day we increase those invisible thematic keyword columns, we're actually building AI search mindshare. So every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability we are featured and continue to be featured in this AI overview at the top of Google search, the most premium placement, and we don't even have to pay any ads to get it. And this is, has momentum, where we can achieve momentum, but we do got to continue building momentum, growing momentum through successful execution of execute methodology. And we also know that as we continue to execute methodology correctly, increase the probability of back-end AI search recommendations as well. So things like ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, increasing the chance AI search recommends us more and more every single day of successful SQ methodology execution. And I know last time I looked for boudoir photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT, and dude, it gave me 3. But when I went to actually like manual Google search in that city, I was able to find like 60. So manually searching. So we gotta get these AI search slots because right now Google's approximately 90% of global search. But dude, every single day AI search is increasing every single day. And the best strategy, #1 strategy I've seen for boudoir photographers to be recommended through it is SQ methodology. And also you're an early adopter, you're seeing that since my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city, you're seeing that you can actually prevent your competitors from ever using this strat and actually build up a massive gap of AI mindshare momentum with utilizing SQ methodology to, again, create these invisible thematic keyword columns, attach them to your brand, build up the AI mindshare. And conversely, if one of your competitors was to go with me, you see that you would actually have to go rederive SQ methodology for yourself, re-execute it for yourself, and you'd actually have to equal me and your competitor's execution every day. And that would simply maintain the gap that me and your competitor would have already built up ahead of you. So you'd actually have to double or triple our output every single day of SQ methodology to begin pulling that AI mindshare, those invisible thematic keyword columns away from your competitor and my brand back to yours. And you would not be 100% confident you've even derived SQ methodology correctly in the first place to even put that massive amount of effort into executing it. So you see no that and you're like, screw that, because you realize nobody's got 80 hours in a day to do all that stuff. So you decide you're simply going to be the first mover in your city to actually be using SQ methodology, prevent your competitors from using it. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's actually open. Yeah, hospital is currently closed for new patients. And if we, when I open the hospital for new patient intake, I'll put it here somewhere in the videos, and shoot us a DM then, and then we'll see if you qualify for using our S-cubed methodology.